Welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Now, Meta founder, Meta, they own Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram. Meta founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg took the witness stand yesterday in the high-profile trial in Los Angeles centered on whether social media companies like Meta and Google, their product YouTube, contributed to addiction and harm among young users. Zuckerberg was pressed about how Meta enforces age limits on Instagram and whether features of the platform encourage excessive use or risk harming children. He acknowledged that enforcing age restrictions is very difficult, his words, and that millions of under 13 users have been on the platform despite policies meant to keep them off. Let's head over to Matthew Bergman, founding attorney of the Social Media Victims Law Center, represents the plaintiff in this case. Matthew, thanks for coming back on so soon after your last segment, but I figured we should be talking about this while this trial's going on. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It was a historic day yesterday.
Tell our listeners here why it was so historic.
This is the first time that a social media company has ever stood trial before a jury for harming a kid. This was a time when one of the richest men in the world had to stand in front of a jury as any other citizen and answer questions under oath as to why his profits are more important than our kids' lives.
And I imagine in a case like this, he must have been prepped by a legal team.
Let's talk about, he was indeed. He was indeed.
So what are your takeaways there on how he answered the questions or was effective at evading them?
Well, I think he in law we have this term called pettifoggery, which means utilizing all sorts of words to get around the truth. And I think it was a consummate display of pettifoggery. But one thing about the jury system is juries see through things. You can't put anything over on a jury. And I think the jury saw that this is somebody who would not answer the question straight. We thought that it was clear that a dispute as to whether or not something was a milestone or a goal, this kind of wordsmithing, I think, was not did not resonate with the jury. But of course, the jury's the ultimate decider.
Is there anything that you think is going to resonate with the jury for your case, for your side of things?
Well, I think, first of all, it was an amazing opportunity. We had parents who had lost children sitting in the courtroom in the front row looking at Mr. Zuckerberg. We had our 20-year-old victim in court looking at Mr. Zuckerberg. I thought that it was an incredible experience and just vindication for these parents who, and just so your listeners know, these parents stayed overnight outside in the rain, lining up in front of the courthouse so that they could come and listen to this man speak and come and bear moral witness to this occasion.
Because a lot of people want to be in this courtroom.
Yes, a lot of people want to be in the courtroom, and some of the defendants had hired people to stand in line to keep our parents out in their limited seats. But I think that this was just an incredible opportunity for these families to bear moral witness. And we understand the trial is they call it trial for a reason. Every case is difficult. The burden of proof is appropriately in our hands, but simply being able to come to this moment was a inflection point in the ongoing efforts to hold social media companies accountable for what the carnage they're inflicting, not just on kids in the United States, not just kids in Canada, but kids around the world.
You're using that word carnage. It's a very strong, powerful word. Why don't you describe that? Why do you think the word carnage is an appropriate way to discuss these social media companies and what they're doing to children?
Because when a 16-year-old boy breaks up with his girlfriend and goes on TikTok asking for affirming content and is given a series of videos telling him to shoot himself in the head with a shotgun, and he does it, that's carnage. When a 14-year-old girl is looking for diet and exercise and is fed material, encouraging her to starve herself, encouraging her to get by on 500 calories a day, encouraging her to develop a body image that is unhealthy, that is carnage. When kids are encouraged to engage in dangerous challenges, to choke themselves, that is carnage. We can't, there's no other word for it. When children are connected to predators online and sexually abused, that is carnage, or as I call it, I think these platforms are pimping our children. So my words are harsh, but I think the reality that these families experience is even harsher.
Well, what's their defense? What's their defense to things like that? Well, we can't look at everything. We can't control everything. Is that the defense here?
Well, the defense is, first of all, it's your kid's fault. The kids are messed up. We're seeing this in the KGM trial. Look, KGM had a rough upbringing. She didn't have a perfect home, and she had challenges, like so many kids. So they prey on the vulnerabilities of kids. But yeah, their first defense is the kids are screwed up. The second defense is it's all the parents' fault. The parents should have been monitoring and keeping the social media in check, ignoring the fact that these platforms are specifically designed to evade parental authority, to make it difficult, if not impossible. And then, like you say, they say, oh, it's so hard. Mm-hmm. It's so hard to really know what the ages of people are, even though their own algorithms direct content, not based on stated age, but based on the age of the behaviors online. And you know, if they're so surprised that kids under 13 are using their platforms, why do they advertise Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and Barbies?
Mm-hmm. So they don't even need an ID. They know how old every single person is on their platform without any access to ID.
They know more about us than we know about ourselves. Absolutely.
Why don't you take us through the rest of this trial? Like, how many more days will this be going on? And, how do you think it's going to play out the rest of the way?
Well, we're still putting on the plaintiff's case. And so we're going to start putting on evidence now regarding Google and YouTube, and how YouTube is not great for kids either. And that their efforts to addict kids are every bit as virulent as social media. So we'll put on our kids. There'll be expert witnesses in the fields of psychology and computer science. Then we will rest our case in probably about a week and a half, and then the defendants will put on their case, and they'll put on, very, very high-priced experts who will say that it's all our kids' fault, that the evidence on the connection between social media and mental health harms is not clear, that we just don't really know. There's a correlation, but not a causation. And then ultimately, it will be put in the hands of the jury, and the jury will decide whether or not Google and Meta were substantial factors in causing KGM's harm, and if so, the appropriate level of damages that should be awarded.
Could the result of this case lead to significant changes? Or, like these companies that make so much money, even if they lose, will they just keep doing things the same way? Ultimately, if you win, what kind of changes could we see out of it?
Well, if we win or we lose, we have proven that these companies are taken to trial, and it's not going to be one trial that's going to change their behavior. It's going to be multiple trials, and for the first time, they are going to have to bear the financial cost of their reckless design decisions. We've appealed. People have been appealing for decades to their moral suasion. It hasn't worked, and there's been plenty of bad PR. That hasn't worked. But when you hit them in the pocketbook, when it becomes more important and more costly for them to design dangerous products and safe products, that's when the change is going to happen.
Matthew, listen, we'll leave it there. You've been generous with your time, and our listeners really do appreciate it. Thanks for keeping us abreast of this trial.
Thank you very much. Always good to talk to you.
Matthew Bergman right there, founding attorney of the Social Media Victims Law Center. He represents the plaintiff in this landmark trial.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian-owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years. And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.